that is just count the amount of the I-90s I have, as well as look at the amount of reforged mats I do have. But generally,
let's take a quick break and check that.
Yeah, before the end of last season, I would say that I was probably farming the majority of every day of the week.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not nearly as much. I mostly just wait for hunt buffs, but I would say that I probably farm on a good day, probably 6-7 hours. But that's nowhere near every day.
My God, man, I'm getting tired just counting these boys. It never ends.
Yeah, the last I counted, this was months ago, I was at around 700.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure what I'm at now. You have to go down to Reforge.
I can also check it in your inventory, no? But okay, we'll go
yeah, you should be able to check there.
We'll
Still workshop's just easier.
Oh my God! Wait! Favorite units, he says, are A. Coley, Stenny, for waifu. Oh, these are waifus. Boys, you know what? Those are solid. Not my favorite. Stenny Dark Tyrant, maybe one of my favorites, but not bad. Better than saying like Sermia. And then gameplay would be Operator Cigarette. Favorite gameplay unit. Gotcha. Still pay to win, but not as much. Let's say big pay to win, but slowing down. I think that's the case for most whales. Jinte, Platy, now Caerliss. Big pay to win, but slowing down. And then been playing since day one, right? Okay. Caerliss, is there anything we can add here before we start? To kind of give them an idea of how much, you know, maybe the gear quality. Some of the best gear in the game. What do you think? What would you pride yourself in for your account, Caerliss? That's what I'm asking at. All right, boys. I'm gonna sort by CP. We'll just hover over a few, and then let's start chatting with them ASAP. All right. Slowing down after the end of the last season because we all know the reason, guys. There was some stuff. We won't mention it here if he doesn't want to. Yeah, there was some reasons though that he slowed down. All right. Let's take a look real fast. Number 1 on the list, we got Arby. Now, I remember him showing this on one of our other streams, guys, not on his review, but he's actually opting for the Vildred artifact, Sword of Summer Twilight. It is max level. So no Dreamblade boys, no basket. Caerliss, we'll revisit this when I have you on voice to tell us about it, but let's show the stats real fast. Immunity, guys, 227 speed. It's gonna hit very hard, and then we got that cleave potential, man. Combat readiness push. Okay. Followed up by Greenville. Wait, this is backwards. Greenville has the 30 Arby, and Arby has the, or excuse me, Arby Arby has the Vildred artifact, and Vildred has the Arby artifact. What is happening? All right, let's take a look. Triple S as well, though, boys. You should already know. Of course, they're gonna be triple S. We'll have to ask him about those takes. Save it for the voice chat, Caerliss. Tell us all about this. I'm sure they're gonna want to know. I'm really surprised by that. Blue Kisei. Wow, speed actually a lot slower than I thought. Most people are opting for like 250 speed, even 260 now with a 10 speed EE. But it has a little bit of, does it look like it has a little bit of bulk, boys? Yeah, defense percent there, health percent on the weapon, of course. Health and defense on the chest piece, so we're actually getting some bulk intentionally. Interesting. Most people go full glass cannon, right? 260 speed. This one can actually take a little bit of a hit. Okay. Top model Luluka. Another one, guys. Chat, normally, you guys would say, if this was a roast review, right? Way too slow, car. I got a 270 top model Luluka. You know what, Caerliss? I think we got to bring you on voice right now. That's already 4 units in a row that I feel like you need to weigh in on. So, Caerliss, you ready? I think we got to talk. Unless we're, Caerliss, you're not debating us, right? This is all intentional. This is all intended. We're not all getting massively trolled, right, chat? I mean, the stats all look good. It's just not what you would expect. It's not the meta build right now. It is immunity. Okay, let's start from the top. Let's go talk with Caerliss. Hold up. YouTube, we're gonna try something out a little differently. We're gonna bring on our guest from the very get-go. All right, let's see. Caerliss, your mic is fully on, and we can hear a little bit of background info, or not info, but a little background noise.
No worries. Can you hear me, though?
Yes. Chat, how's the volume? Do I need to raise it? Is it good? Okay, let's go ahead and say one more. Actually, Caerliss, if you want to just start while I adjust your volume, can you tell us about the Sword of Summer Twilight?
Yeah, sure. So the way that I have my team set up is I kind of use my RB the same way that you would if your RB had knife. Basically trying to optimize the damage. I don't want to go for the RNG aspect of the greater attack.
Sure.
Obviously, when you hit the greater attack, you're going to be doing more damage, but I like to have more consistent damage, and that's where that artifact comes into play. It's basically knife, but with better base stats, and you don't have to have a setup for it, so you don't have to deal any additional damage. So overall, I still view it as the better RB artifact if you're going for more a cleave RB. And that's what I'm trying for right now, at least with that RB, is a not a first turn cleave, but more like a second turn, unless I'm able to get like a Bazaar or something out. But I'm not trying to take first turn with these units, and that's why they're a little more slower than what you would expect. At my speed on just some of my first turn units like Acid and those ones. But I've never been known for my fastest gear. I think my fastest gear is probably my helmets, neither of which are speed set, and they're like 22 speed. So
got it.
Everything else is generally 20 or 21 speed as my highest.
Yeah, that's it. So people watching Caerliss are gonna be like, hey, 2021, that's still really good. But in the grand scheme of things, yesterday, Caerliss, I think you were here, people were showing off 27 speed plus items all over the place. Yeah. He's saying he's actually not able to get speed anywhere. But I love, guys, I actually really like the AoE knife. No need to set up the missing health. Now, I think players just love Gab, Caerliss. You said you don't like the RNG, but people just love winning off, greater attack basket. But of course, at that same thought process, Caerliss is always getting value. So maybe it's not as impactful as greater basket, but I like this idea, boys. If you do have some dupe sort of Summer Twilights, maybe consider that. Yeah, we're gonna notice he mentioned the speed. By the way, Caerliss, how you doing today, man? We kind of just went straight into it because we've been hanging out, but YouTube hasn't heard from you yet. You want to just introduce yourself real fast?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today, but for those who don't know me, my name is Caerliss. I'm a gacha addict, I guess you could say. I generally play E7 or FGO, Fate Grand Order nowadays. I used to be a big Danmachi player, but I quit that game when it became obvious that they wanted to power creep every single banner. So thankfully they don't like to do that with E7, but of course, E7 has its other issues, which I'm more than happy to vocalize on a daily basis. But.
Yes, he's known for spicy takes, and Caerliss, hopefully at the end, once we get through some of these units, we can talk a little bit about that. I'm excited to hear some of E7's things you think might need to be looked at. All right, let's see here. Jay, what is this mod? Okay, so Caerliss, the Greenville, we have basket on him. Is this because we're using the Green Village artifact on the RB? So you said you don't like the RNG factor, but if it's just for maybe is he like a backup cleaver just for the speed imprint?
So the only place I really use Green Villager nowadays is really in just normal arena, and people are probably going to hate me for this, but he's kind of just a basket holder right now. I mean, it's nice to have on him, but I mean, I used to just have a knife on him too, because I always have him with attack buff anyway, so he generally kills stuff. So if he has the greater attack, it's just as good.
Okay, so not really, it's not catered for him. It's kind of just you needed a thing
it's
to
what
hold
I have
30
right
best.
now, yeah.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. All right, Caerliss, you got to talk to us about this Ice Kisei.
So the Ice Kisei I'm still working on. She's basically tuned just so she goes after my G Purgus just for the attack buff in case I don't get the greater attack buff from basket. I want to try building a faster one, but again, I'm very limited on my speed offensive pieces, so it's really difficult for me to make a high speed threat. Even my Acid, which is only like 300 speed, his damage isn't as high as it could be, or as high as you might see someone like a Jintai or anybody else. So I'm trying to use what I can as far as speed goes.
Okay. And then, did you mention the we were specifically going for some health and defense subs, correct?
Yeah, I kind of like them with health and defense. Just because, especially with some carrots out there, if they do land the burns, having some bulk does help. Especially if you don't have the attack buff. The shield isn't the largest, so it's nice to have at least some bulk just to help with surviving the shield
On
and
my
staying in
honor
stealth.
as a
But
dragon,
just how
Got
kinda
it.
went.
I will punish
Daniel,
you.
thank you so much, man. Daniel, I'm gonna replay that in just a sec, so we don't lose our
Look at
momentum.
me.
But I appreciate you, brother. All right, next up, top model Luluka, also a little bit slower. And guys, you know what? Caerliss, do you have any words for the people that maybe don't run super fast?
So, if you can build her super fast, it's definitely nice to do so. But if you can't, I mean, you really just have to decide what you're trying to outspeed. If you want to run her with a flurry, having her fast but not too fast is pretty nice because you can always speed tune your flurry to go before her. But really, it depends on what you're trying to do with her. If you want her to take that first turn, then of course try to build her around 280 plus. I do have the Black Hand of the Goddess. I know that a certain other streamer is running that as well, just to help increase the speed of your top model Luca while also being able to give her some more offensive stats because you don't need the 100% crit with that artifact. But right now, again, I'm limited by the equipment that I do have as far as speed goes, and I'm okay with this one as right now. I am trying to build her a little faster though, but I just have to decide which units I want to ungear for it.
Got it. Okay. And he mentioned Black Hand of the Goddess, boys, which recently got big buffs. Okay. Opposite, Caerliss, is one of the ones you said is your favorite gameplay unit. Not necessarily waifu, but favorite gameplay unit.
Honestly, she's probably the one unit that I wish I had multiple copies of because there's just so much that you could do with her. You could have her being a offensive threat. You could have her being more a bruiser threat or your speed threat. She's just one of the units in the game that she's really good at what she does, and she can fit in so many different places. So, personally, I use her for more a slow cleave, which works out well for me. But again, I would like to have another copy of her just to have a faster, more damage threat to Kisei, but she's one of those units that she can excel wherever you put her.
Wow. Okay. So multiple op sigs. 228 speed is kind of so. Since you only have one, this is your favorite build so far.
It's what works for me. So I'm
30
trying
guiding
out
light.
the I'm trying out the G-Perg cleave whenever G-Perg isn't banned, which seems to be a lot recently. But
Okay, so they're calling out.
basically-
You mentioned Kisei, which is he's not technically wrong, guys. Kisei would be like a homunculus of, or Sigrid is a homunculus of Kisei. But yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. But yeah, so I like to run her with General Perg, obviously for the attack buff.
Yeah, we saw some of it.
Yep. But I would like her a little faster just for speed tuning, but that's how things work.
Okay, so yeah, one more time because I'll just say this for players watching, because you've had a lot of success in E7. No one can take that away from you, right? Now the speed though, a lot of people will assume, right? Top model Luluka, if I can get her to 250, 260, let's not even run her. Op Sig, you know, if I don't have a speed booster. Is there any with the TML, does it still work at 241 if the Kisei at 237 instead of 250, 260? It's obviously been
Again,
working somewhat, right?
Yeah, it really depends on what you're trying to do with her, or with any of these units, really. Don't pick the unit thinking that you're going to outspeed stuff. You have to understand that and accept that, listen, I'm going to run this unit with the acknowledgement that I might not take the first turn. And that's kind of what you do when you draft a General Purgus with her, too, is you're accepting that, listen, I might not take the first turn. If I do, it's great. That's why generally a lot of these drafts go with General Purgus and Bazaar, just so your Bazaar can be that first turn threat and push back.
Yeah.
But you just have to build around what you can do.
I love
You don't
that.
need to take that first turn. You can build to go second, but you have to understand, especially when you look at your opponent's draft, is if they are going to take first turn, what does that mean for me? And then try to draft around it. But I won't lie. Obviously, I've been struggling a little with my own draft. I am trying different things. So you just have to figure out what works best for you. And sometimes having a large inventory, large hero box is not the best thing because your mind tries to go in so many different places.
For sure, but guys, basically TLDR, you can get away with less speed, but you have to you obviously have to think much harder on both your opponent and then the support you bring with it. So Caerliss, maybe we'll do one last take on that for the people, because you got to know out there, a lot of people can't hit some of those speed thresholds. So it's nice to see a very high-ranking player actually run just a lot of the units way slower than people thought he'd be running. All right, Kayron, I don't think we got to talk about too much, right? He's just a standard speed Kayron.
Right.
Gear looks
One
pretty
thing
good.
that you won't. Yeah, one thing that you will notice is I am definitely one of the immunity advocates.
Yes.
If I can get immunity on my unit, I am going to get immunity on my unit.
Let's write that down. So a few talking points at the very end. Besides so a few things at the end. E7 hot takes. Then we'll go into speed tuning or just speed units in general. And then last we got immunity versus no immunity.
Yep.
Because I know you saw did you watch the Inori review and then Vinny's where we're kind of talking about the camp that really likes crit chance and immunity's not needed on everybody. I don't think they ever said it was bad, but you know, they really love on a lot of units to do crit chance instead or something else instead of immunity.
Yeah, and I mean, there are units where I obviously run crit set instead of immunity sets. Sometimes that is for strategic reasons. Other times just because I have nothing better. So it really comes down to what you can afford. But if I ever had the option between no immunity and immunity, I'm going to run immunity. It's just how I would go about it.
Fair enough. All right, Bryce area. And wait, Caerliss, we got the Misha artifact on?
Yes.
Okay.
For a few reasons. The first reason is I ran out of Guiding Lights. I only have 3 copies. The second one is my ML Crow, I believe, has my Seal of Unity artifact. And this one's actually really good for Breast Area if you do have a few copies of it, just because it does give that extra hit chance, and C damage actually does help boost Ice Area's damage by a little bit. So it's not a bad artifact if you're utilizing your Guiding Lights and your Seal of Unity elsewhere.
Yeah.
So if you do have it, you could use it there.
And let me make one quick comment on that, Caerliss. So you mentioned, you know, having a guys, he said hero box. You call it roster, whatever you guys normally call it. Someone in the chat said harem. Yeah, Caerliss is known for having, like, he can just, in RTA, if he needs to pick something, he has almost all units at least an acceptable, if not very good gear level. And what I'm noticing with the artifacts, right, just as we saw with, like, Greenville holding the basket, not all of these may be their best in slot, right, Caerliss, but they are good alternatives, and the best in slot is on another unit, or the preferred artifact would be on, you know, other units, but we have a lot just to have something good on, correct?
Yes.
I like that. Okay. A Coley next. Okay. Anything we need to mention? Violet Talisman?
Yeah, so A Collie isn't a unit I pick too often. It's mostly just a pick in case there's just no AoE threats on my opponent's team, and I already have S10A. And my last pick is going to be A Collie just to kind of lock them into dealing with one of these threats that have stealth. So,
Right.
The reason I like Violet Talisman is it does get that first turn damage boost, and it also has a much higher evasion going later into the game, and especially against single target threats, that extra damage that's stacking up, as well as the evasion stacking up, does really start to add up over
Sure.
time.
So we only bring her against no AoE, single targets, usually like tank busting, right? We're fighting like tanky bruiser, like single target bruisers and things like that.
Right.
Okay. I like that tech. All right. Landy up next, boys. Ooh, wait, Caerliss. We are very light on bulk, but very fast. I'm assuming. Yeah, go ahead. Explain this Landy.
Yeah, I actually have 2 Landies. This is my Cleve Landy.
All right, chat and YouTube, keep track of the duplicate units. This is the what would you call this Landy? The PvE Landy or the what kind of Landy is this?
This is PvP. So this is built to basically go right after G-Perg to boost the rest of the team, as well as dish out some damage.
So this is the PvP Landy number 2 that we use speed 2 and G-Perg. So we go all in on the cleave damage potential, right? Dan, wait.
Yes.
Let me see. We'll see the G-Perg in a little bit. I'm curious to see the speed. Okay. That's the second. Dang, that's the second Landy. Dizzy, Caerliss, do you think when was the last time you actually drafted her in RTA?
It's been a while. I used to cleave with Dizzy, and she still has a lot of my damage gear, but I haven't picked her in quite some time.
So this.
I still have her built up just in case.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the people about the damage build? Because usually we don't see this, boys. The crit damage Dizzy.
Right. So a big part of it was mostly against RB drafts, as well as some T-Cerns back when they were a little more popular. She was just really good just because of her AoE damage on the S3. It really does a lot of damage, especially with higher attack limits. And being able to carry her own book is just a very easy S3, S2. And if you do land the buffs, generally that always locks in the match right there. But especially against a RB, if you're able to kill with the S3 and then push back after they revive, it sometimes can really make or break a fight.
Sure. So people will build high attack because, like you said, the S3 hits super hard, and then if some people do counter build, so the extra attack helps. But for your case, since S3 doesn't crit I know the S2 actually hit surprisingly hard, right? Is that the main reason we're on the crit damage? The follow-up S2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. But he said, guys, he hasn't drafted in a while. It's kind of hard to draft Dizzy right now.
Yeah,
Nice,
there's a
interesting
lot
goal.
of better options now, especially because there's so many different units that you want to have your books on. Unless you have 6 or more books, it's really difficult to throw books around on some of these units that you don't really draft that much.
Sure. Caerliss, just off the top of your head, if anyone was wanting to know, just a quick replace, or what do you think you're using now in place of Dizzy for that role that you used to use her for?
Against Darby, I really like. It depends on the draft.
Yeah.
Politis can actually be really good against Darby just because they only come back with 50% health.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not health, but CR. But you have to be very careful there because if you're running Politis and Darby, your Politis needs to be speed tuned or your Politis is going to die pretty easily. But Politis is a good one just because she's also a book holder, and that's really the big thing there is if you're replacing something for Dizzy, you're really looking for book holders there.
Okay. All right, yeah, we'll get to Politis in a little bit here, Caerliss. I think they want to see your T-Cern real fast. 3,800 attack, boys, at 200 speed, very high crit damage, no wasted effectiveness, effect resist, very low HP. This is just a very, very solid T-Cern. Very strong. Caerliss, would you say this is one of your better geared units, or is this kind of just run-of-the-mill for your...
She's probably one of my better geared units.
Okay, it looks like definitely. It, yeah. All right. Guys, it's literally, right? If you wanted to kind of get a cookie cutter T-Cern and then like min-max all the stats, this is what it would look like, I think. Some people opt for, I don't know, maybe a little bit faster, maybe slower for more attack. But this is, I think, if you were looking just for a very nice something to work towards, this is a good example T-Cern for sure.
And nowadays, it's actually not a bad thing to have a little more HP, just because... Especially because a lot of people like to kill T-Cerns with LQCs if you're drafting Dark. It doesn't hurt to have some extra HP just to survive a splash.
Interesting, okay. Because normally people want to avoid the HP to maximize the S2, right, with the Lifesteal mechanic?
Yep.
Kez, do you have any comment before we move on the immunity versus crit chance? Crit set?
Again, if you can run immunity, definitely run immunity. It's not that much of a big deal anymore because units like Athletica aren't seeing nearly as much play these days, but keep in mind that especially you just have to think about what units you might be running into and just understand that because you don't have immunity, if there's anything that can reset your cooldowns, such as, let's just say, ML Lullaby, her S3 can reset cooldowns. So it could really set you back a few turns, especially when you're trying to reclaim that health. If you don't have immunity and they reset your S3 cooldown, just because you're basically trying to survive at that point, and you don't have your S3 to rely on rebuilding your HP pool.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. So if you can, but his gear, the crit set it lined up where he likes where it's at. If he could, though, he said he would put immunity, just for the record.
And I do see some people saying Kisei as well, but keep in mind that with Kisei's EE, she does remove the immunity, or has a chance of removing it. So it's an extra check, yes, but that's another reason why I decided to go a little more towards a crit set side instead of immunity for this one, because at least where I draft her, I don't generally draft her into those threats.
Sounds good. Sounds good, guys. So there's a lot of units that can cleanse, and then you would still want immunity on them. That's usually not a factor that involves. But anyways, let's go to the next unit, Vivian. Any thoughts on this one, Caerliss? I'll just go over the stats real fast. It looks like a... Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a combination between PvE and PvP. I don't use her too often that much in PvP anymore. She's mostly just for A13.
What do you think she stands in the meta? She was very popular like a season and a half ago, and now I like almost never drafted, right? I hardly see her anymore.
I think she could still be good just because she does bring that AoE immunity, and she does have the cleanse with the EE. So against, I would say, metas where there's more water-based control units, she could definitely play a part, but it's just really difficult to draft her into that because you need to make sure that she stays alive too, especially while she does give herself a shield from Dignus, she doesn't give herself stealth like some other units do. So
yeah, that's the big thing right now. All these cleavers have like their self-protection, this stuff. Yeah.
Nowadays, it seems like stealth with a shield is the way that you want to go.
Imagine, boys. True. That's actually that's what I was trying to get him to answer because I didn't know fully why she's kind of been replaced. There's a lot of reasons, but I think that's the nail on the head. Is the a lot of the other competition have both a stealth and a shield. True. All right. Sermia? Is this Trials?
Yeah, it's mostly trials.
Trials, got it. Looks good, though, for Trials. Okay. Now, let's talk about Politis. Chad, do y'all say Politis or Politis? I've heard both. Politis, though, makes it sound like she's, yeah, like she's trying to be super polite. Anyways, Caerliss, while they answer that, you were talking about her earlier. She kind of replaced Dizzy for your lineups as a book holder. And this gear were full damage, huh?
Yes. I love to have Politis against some of these Teak Rosets as well as Maid drafts, especially if you're able to kill units against a Maid. Generally, when she uses her S3 to bring stuff back to life, her passive backswing is just going to kill them anyway. And that CR manipulation, it really hurts your opponent in so many different ways. I've actually won matches against RBs when they revived because they did not revive above my last unit in the chain, which is generally going to be Politis.
Okay. So a little bit of advanced tech there. And then, yeah, the lineup looks good. For just people wanting to build a Politis, Caerliss, would you recommend them to try this build, or it depends on what they're going for, like usual?
Just because if you do go damage, you want to have the Molos built into her. I would say it really depends on where you're at from your Mulagora, where you're at with Mulagora, but I would say that really any kind of build works, but if you go with a damage build, or at least some damage, it definitely does
We do need the
help
Molos.
versus, yeah.
Okay.
And it does, I mean, a Politis that does damage does help with more than a Politis that doesn't do any damage, because all she's going to be doing is just really standing there.
For this too.
Hurt, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So.
Sounds good. All right. A Sid, another Violet Talisman. We're liking this artifact. And he mentioned, guys, only 300 speed. Word for word, he said earlier. Guys, my says only 300 speed. But he said at that speed level, what he's lacking is, you said damage should be a little bit higher, correct?
Damage should be a little higher, but I mean, I run so many books on my team where if they let me have a book with the Acid, he's going to kill something. So,
okay. I'm in. This is a lot better than a lot of us here can do, but if you missed it, guys, Caerliss is saying, compared to a lot of other people that have been playing since day one, you know, his speed is not the best for sure. Still nice though.
I still like to say I have some of the worst luck as far as speed goes. With how much I farm versus the speed
that is
I
true.
have, it's just.
Can you give the viewers and my chat, just, you don't have to say exact numbers or anything, but like how much more would you say you farm than an average player?
So how much is an average player farm?
Well, let's say you have 520 mil gold and everyone coming in is commenting on this, and you did buy that 200 mil gold thing from the Goblin, right? From the Scam Shop Goblin for fun. Chat, what would an average player farms, I guess with their daily energy, do you just have a rough idea of how much hunts you would do like on a daily or weekly basis?
I guess the best way to do that is just count the amount of the I-90s I have, as well as look at the amount of reforged mats I do have. But generally,
let's take a quick break and check that.
Yeah, before the end of last season, I would say that I was probably farming the majority of every day of the week.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not nearly as much. I mostly just wait for hunt buffs. But I would say that I probably farm on a good day, probably 6-7 hours. But that's nowhere near every day anymore.
Boys, I was counting. It was 15 rows already just for weapons, and then I forgot. It's showing some. Oh, sorry, we were only on weapons. Okay, so it's 15 rows of weapons. Let's start from there.
Yeah, I'll say right now, I don't think I'm near what Jintai's at. I think last I counted, I was probably at around 700.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Chat, just for reference. Do y'all know how many reforged gear you're at? So here's 20. 21, 22, 23. I might have messed up, guys, but you have a rough idea what you're at, right? 22, 23.
Yeah, I think I'm around 700.
So much red gear, dude. My God. Caerliss, while I go through this, and I think I already lost track, but 28. Do you have a comment on, I guess, do you only keep red gear from here on out with how much you farm?
Nowadays, yes.
Damn. Okay.
It's just so difficult. I mean, I'll roll the purple gear for speed, but it's so difficult nowadays, especially when you have as much gear as some of the players that have been playing since day one.
Sure.
It's just trying to fit the room where if you're trying to fit enough space in your inventory for both red and purple gear, you're going to run out of room sooner or later, especially even if you're equipping it to fodder, you're still going to run out of room.
Guys, I'm going to stop at 61 times 9. Caerliss, just give them the number, because we're getting a purple gear, so that was 61. Here, hold on, let's try to finish up. 364. My God, man, I'm getting tired just counting these, boys. It never ends.
Yeah, the last I counted, this was months ago. I was at around 700.
Oh my
I'm not
god,
sure what
dude.
I'm at now.
Guys, I'm getting carpal tunnel. I'm just flubbing the numbers now, but I got a rough idea. Okay, I think we're at like oh my god, man. I think we were at boys, what is do a quick 79 times 9? I think I might have missed a row, might have added a row or two. But what's that number? Let's see if it lines up with Caerliss's guesstimate of a few months ago. He said 700-ish. What is 79 times 9, boys? 711? Okay, I might have like skipped a few rows, but that kind of lines up with what he was saying. So, chat. I'll check mine for anyone on YouTube that wants to know how many I have. Count how many you have, and that's kind of a good example of how much he farms. And keep in mind, that's only keeping red gear from here on out. So if he found some purple gear he liked too, he could probably get that number way up. All right. Anyways, Caerliss, let's move on. Any other unit? Why don't we go through the list and you kind of call out which ones we should look at? While I'm just gonna hover through some of the gear real fast. Yeah, chat's commenting on crit damage, fire 10. Is this for expedition? Oh, Caerliss got moved out. Sorry, one sec.
There we go.
Thank you, Mats. Yeah, sorry. But what the fire 10? They're asking about the crit. We're like an offensive.
The 10A is mostly for expeditions.
That's what I thought. The 65 effectiveness. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. For the Earth boss, correct?
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. SSB. Now, how many SSBs are there?
I have 2 SSBs.
2 SSBs.
Enough to probably build a third one if I wanted to, but
do we have we have a spare SSB sitting around?
Yeah, I think it's in my storage.
Okay. And this is it has portrait. Wait, what SSB is this one?
That is for my Hunt 13 one shot.
Oh, one shot. Okay. This is Wyvern 13 one shot, boys. All right.
Yes.
So he might even make a third one if he wanted. He doesn't even have to wait for the rerun.
I am probably not going to make a third one.
Okay.
Any future SSBs is going to go into a new SSB if they ever make a new Bologna, I should say.
Oh, like a fire Bologna? Yikes, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Charles, are we just Banshee setup with this artifact?
Yes.
Banshee setup. Okay. Sounds good. The new fire Charles is coming, boys. Luna looks like almost full red gear for expedition because it's telling with a victorious flag. Nothing to talk about. Very strong expedition unit.
Yep, she's definitely a solid unit. Probably one of the better PvE units, which is why she's never going to get buffed.
Caerliss, I thought we were going to take the spice. We're going to save the spicy taste for later, man. Guys, he said Luna will never get buffed because she's a solid PvE unit.
As long as people use her in things like fire 3s and just fire expeditions. I mean, they said that they look at PvE and PvP usage and they utilize both to decide. So,
boys, do me all a favor. If you love Luna, okay? If I have any Luna fans, let's all find Caerliss, the other options for fire DPS is what? Commander Lorena. Chat, what are the other options?
I've actually seen a lot of people use Yuna in fire expeditions. Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's make a movement. We're gonna try to find other usages so we can show them Luna's not worth using because Caerliss is saying she'll never get buffed if we keep this up. Yikes, dude. Okay, Rylet. Just a quick take on Rylet so far. Everyone hates him right now. Caerliss, any thoughts on his spot right now in the current meta?
I'm still a adamant believer that he is bugged against T-Cern and that T-Cern's S3 will always hit a Rylet. I don't think I've ever seen a T-Cern's S3 miss a Rylet.
Wait, so okay, this is not memes, right? You think there's a bug going around where T-Cern will actually hit him, or guaranteed hit him?
I mean, I could say it's definitely a meme because I haven't started to record.
Yeah, of course, you haven't tested it, but you actually believe it.
Every time I see a T-Cern about to S3 and there's a Rylet on the opposing team, I always think to myself, it's going to hit, and it hits. And I did the same thing during the E7 World Championship finals, I think, when it happened again. So I am a firm believer that there is some RNG logic there where T-Cern just has a inherent hit chance against.
Well, someone in my chat says they agree. YouTube, have you found any supporting evidence for that? Also, Caerliss, you want to comment your stats are fast? They're talking about the 0.2 missing crit, 50-50.
I believe it rounds up, and if it doesn't round up, I'll just tell myself that anytime I miss a crit, I basically just hit a ML5.
True, actually. Overall, though, the stat line, is this where you kind of like him? We've seen people run like mega bulky. We're kind of in between, I think.
He works for me. Ideally, I think I'd like to have him a little faster, just because you want to have him running faster than a unit like S10A, just so you don't get lapped. Because if you start getting, the moment you start getting lapped, the less valuable Rylet is, because he doesn't have the chance to really get an S3 off before he gets some too low.
Okay.
So you really would like to have him lapping in a 1v1 situation. So I'd like to have him a little faster, but when he dodges, he works for me.
Got it. Guys, this is Caerliss. I should write that on the screen, but next up, Spec Tenny. We're on the Lifesteal variant. Caerliss, while I look through the gear, thoughts on speed versus the Lifesteal thing? I'm pretty sure you're going to say what most people have said, but I'll give you the floor.
I mean, they're both good for different reasons. Obviously, if you're more a cleave person, then you'd want to go with the speed one with the more damage. But I think against units like Carrots and a lot of the current meta, if you don't have a Lifesteal S10A, you're going to lose more matches than you'll probably win in that kind of
You mentioned versus
matchup.
Carrots, and did you have another example?
Really anything that can hit her, because especially if you don't have a healer.
So
Yeah,
anything with
especially-
AoE would reach, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you don't have healers. If you don't have a way to keep your S10 alive, she's going to die sooner or later. But if you are able to keep your S10 up through those heals, you're going to win more matches, I would say, than you would probably lose. I mean, even in my match against, it was one of my matches even before the review here, where the only reason I won that match was because my
Yeah,
S10
she healed
was
it
on
to full.
Lifesteal. Yeah.
Okay, so same thing, guys. Speed Stenny can still work, but that's more of aggressive, like cleaver play style. Caerliss is saying you should probably look at Lifesteal if you go in a longer match and you fight a lot of AoE.
Yeah, if your S10 is not Lifesteal, you're going to lose against some, I want to say, silly things and some good silly things. Carrot being one of them, Senya being another.
Right.
Anything that can just throw some damage her way, it's going to start adding up over time.
Okay, yeah, I like the take. We're firmly set, a little bit leaning more towards Lifesteal for that build. Now, speed can still work, of course, on the cleave. Okay,
Yep.
Blue Yuna, which was actually Caerliss said was a replacement for Luna for Expedition, but this looks like a PvP Luna.
Yes, I use this
Oh my God.
Yuna against S10 drafts, and she can do a deceptionally a large amount of damage if you have the right setup. Especially if you do have the attack buff and you're able to get the S3, S1 off, that can start to really add up, especially with attack buff and a Rangar's drink.
I know Zion's excited for this. So counter build, all the stats look like they're on point. Zion, what do you think about this Yuna? Yeah, it looks really solid. So you said you drafted it versus Stenny's, and she can do a surprising amount of damage. Yeah, I've seen it when the attack up is active and she gets any counter AoE S1. Yeah, it's crazy.
Generally, I haven't seen a time where she has her S3 and attack buff, and I'm not in a position to win the game.
Okay.
If she gets to a point where she's able to get her S3 and S1 off, and she also has the attack buff, you're generally going to win the game.
Got it. Caerliss and Zion, some of chat is asking, is this the best EE for Yunas? The Meteor Cannon, S3?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay.
At least that's one that I like, just because of the S3 damage.
I like it, boys. All right. I might have to build one up to replace my my Luna. Gunther. Is this memes? It's not fully reforged.
Yeah, I used to use Gunther as a Rylet counter,
Yeah, I think
but
a lot of people
nowadays
do that.
Rylet counters himself.
Okay. Raleigh counters himself, especially versus T-Cern. Hufine, she getting any play at all?
Not anymore. Not really these days.
So even for versus Bazaars, what are we reaching for instead, Caerliss?
So if I'm not picking Bazaar, I'm normally banning Bazaar.
Okay, so we just don't. That's how we deal with them. Got it. Fair enough.
Yeah. If worst case scenario, I'll just go with Lilius. I'm in the situation where I don't rely on some of those units like Eufine against Bazaar. I'm just going to draft like a Lilius or something and just pray for the fire 50/50.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Flitica, any comments? Do we have to talk about her at all?
I don't really use her that much nowadays. I don't think she's as good as she used to be these days. I think she still has some places where she could be good, and that's why I still have her at least geared. But it's just really hard to find a draft where she could actually do something, especially in a cleave draft, because you're looking for more damage-oriented units.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing a lot about. Okay, Karen, I'm assuming either Wyvern one shot, something like that.
Yep, everyone wants shot.
Sounds good. Adley, chat wanted to see the Adley. Caerliss, tell me he's getting some. He's getting some usage.
I do not use him. I know that he used to be a huge anti-cleave unit, but nowadays I just don't use him.
Okay, well, it looks like he still has some decent gear on, but he's just holding the chatty. That's not intended for his build or anything?
Right.
Okay. Sorry, guys. For now, Adley is just... He used to be used for versus anti-cleave, but he's currently not getting played. Ludwig. Caerliss.
He used to be used for Banshee, but not anymore. So he just still
Yeah.
has his Banshee gear on him.
Yeah, we didn't even give him an EE. Not good enough to even craft EE. I agree. Okay. Celine,
She
Same
does
thing?
get used on occasion.
the anti-cleave pick, correct? I'm
Yes.
assuming. Okay. Sounds good. And we do have the 30
I
Artstorm
Yeah, I
Sword.
personally have not seen anything survive her S3, but
On this build. Okay. Nothing has
Yeah.
survived Caerliss's Celine's S3, boys. Iseria, Bloodstone. This is PvE. We were doing some maybe
Yes,
Dagger Scar or something.
I was using her for Fire 3, not Fire 3, Green
Expedition.
3s.
Got
yeah,
it.
Expedition.
Okay, fair enough. Jay Kisei. There's a red dot. We didn't even put it the free moles we got in Caerliss. What is this?
Jay Kisei is for Guild Wars mostly. Guild Wars and some Arena.
Fair. Are we still doing the Oxlot CDOM kind of comp?
On occasion, yeah. So my draft with her in just normal Arena is normally going to be something like Athletica, Oxlot, Cdom, Jets Kisei.
Got it. Sounds good. BBK, same thing, kind of sometimes Guild War Arena cleaving, or is this more? Oh wait, Rage Set. What is this for?
BBK, that is for A13.
A13. Got it. And
One shot.
is that a one shot? Yeah, you did say
That is for one shot.
Okay, interesting, boys. A13 one shot. So, Caerliss, while I look through the units, thoughts on one shot versus just normally doing the hunt? You've been obviously been preferring it, maybe because you have access to more energy and leafs. But yeah, just do you have a take on one shot?
If you like to min-max your time, I would say that one shots are definitely better for you. But keep in mind that if you're on a budget, if you do one shots, you're going to burn through your resources much faster than you're going to be burning through them if you just do normal runs.
Yeah, that's
So
why I
that's
guess
one thing to keep in mind.
most players, if you aren't like Caerliss level, or you know, if you aren't able to buy some leaves or stock up a lot of leaves, a lot of times there's no point. You will save a lot of time, which is nice. So if you are that kind of player that needs to get all your stuff done, let's say you don't have access to internet for the rest of the week or something, maybe look into it. But for most players, the bottleneck's going to be your energy. So it is. Caerliss, would you say it's a serious investment though, right? Like a lot of players, if they build a rage set BBK for one shot, they might not be able to use this in a lot of other areas. So it's a significant investment, correct?
Honestly, I would say that BBK could be used in PvP. You could probably use her with like a. Let's just say that you're probably. I wouldn't say that you're a newer player with that gear personally, but let's say that you're trying to do some like arena cleave. You could probably use her with like a flan setup and still do a large amount of damage, especially if you're able to do like an AoE defense break. With rage set, you're going to kill anything. So
Okay. Sounds good.
it can work in PvP. It's just that it's not going to be the most ideal, but you're able to use them in different places.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, wait, this is the second Landy, right? Oh, we saw this one, guys, on the... Boys, we saw this one. This is one he was using in the lobbies. Counter Landy. All right, okay, let's take the floor. What do we think about Counter Landy?
When she works, she works. When she doesn't work, you're hating yourself for building her counter. She's really nice as far as like tilting people when they throw out an AoE and they think they're safe, but then you counter them and she suddenly becomes the next in line for the turn, and then she just boosts your entire team. I've seen that on so many streams, and it's always amazing to watch. But again, when she doesn't counter, it really, really hurts. But I like her as a counter unit personally.
Yeah, Chad is confirming. This is second Landy. We saw 2 SSBs. Caerliss, was there another duplicate unit we saw so far, or that's it for now?
That's it for now.
Is there something coming up, maybe?
There's a duplicate RB, yes.
There's another RB. All right, boys, let's keep going down the list. All right, Mursa. Gear looks pretty good.
I do use her on occasion when I need like a speed imprint, and just a threat.
Yeah.
But she's still a good unit.
Yeah.
When you're able to use her. It's just that you have to be very careful with where you use her because a nice area is going to make her very upset.
Okay, sounds good. Green Bell PvE.
Don't use her anymore.
Don't use her. Thoughts on her as a waifu?
I still think that she's a good waifu.
Well, let's say top.
She's friendship 10 worthy.
She is friendship 10 worthy. Would you rank her top 5?
Are we counting just all Bellonas the same Bellona?
No,
I would say that she's probably close to top 5.
but not top 5. My man. All right, Green Sid. Crit damage destruction expedition. Oh no, wait.
I was trying him for expedition, but I just decided to stick with Biken.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. And here, speaking of Biken, rage set expedition. Do we use her in Banshee too or no?
Yeah, she's in my 3-man Banshee team.
Got it. 3-man Banshee team. Cigarette, Wyvern, one shot.
Yep, Wyvern one-shot.
Rage set. All right, boys. That's all the rage set. Save up your rage sets if you do want to do the one-shot thing. Green, you fiend.
Don't use her anymore, unfortunately.
Got it. Ravi.
I still use her on occasion. Definitely not as much as I used to, just because it seems like if your opponent's drafting a grass team, you're probably going to go with carrots and something else. But she's still a good unit, and she's still one of those units where you have to be very careful drafting against because she's a solo threat. So
sure. This is 321 crit damage, guys. Effective HP still good because of how high the health is. Defense a little bit lower than some we've seen.
Yeah,
but obviously, it's in the crit damage.
Yeah, you always have to keep in mind, too, generally when you're drafting Ravi, you're drafting her with negation. You're not drafting her into, like, a full offensive team.
Sure.
So.
But, I mean, this is still, like I said, this is still pretty good EHP. We're not going, like, mega squish. But, yeah, I guess a lot of people are opting for, like, tons. Ed, thank you so much, guys. I paused the alerts just for a minute. That way we can all hear Caerliss well. But thank you so much, Ed. I'll replay the alerts at the end. All right, Caerliss looks good. Wait, real fast. You said you're using her less. Do you think she's falling off a little bit in the meta?
I don't think she's falling off, but I do think that people are using her less often in exchange for Carrot, because Carrot's a new thing and people are still trying to figure out how to play against Carrot.
Yeah.
People are familiar with Ravi. They know, okay, here's a Ravi. What do I generally use against Ravi? Whereas Carrot, people are still trying to get familiar with her. And that's, I could say this for later on in the talk, but this is why I really don't like saying we need to nerf these units on this unit's too OP.
Yeah, let's get to that part, Caerliss. I'm excited to hear that. Okay, so why don't we let's start to pick up the pace then. So we'll save all the questions for after, guys. I'll just show some highlighted units. Chat, if you want to see a unit here, YouTube, unfortunately, I'll go ahead and just, is there a unit, if they have PvP usage or if they're like a special PvE usage, just stop me. But Shadow Rose.
Next PvP is probably going to be ML
Rin, all right. ML Rin here, boys. Damn, nice speed.
Yeah, she's not the fastest, but I like to have her at least 290 just so she can be a speed threat if I want her to be.
Have you tried Alabastron on her?
I have not. I like Arnell just because when Arnell pops off, she really starts to become annoying.
More impactful. Okay, sounds fair.
Yeah.
I know people are going to want to see the carrot. Melissa, she's kind of benched right now. World boss, looks like.
She's benched. Melissa is one of those units that just loves to spook me. I think I have another 5 Melissas in my storage box.
Welcome on Ninja. Yeah, sounds good. The carrot. So Caerliss, we're gonna save the nerf talk for at the end, but here's your carrot build. It looks very nice, guys. This is a very well built carrot. High speed. The bulk is there. The attack. It doesn't look like we're sacrificing much, and it's on immunity. Yeah, I think you dedicated some good gear to this, correct?
Yeah, she is kind of built as a cleave carrot for me. I like to have her still with bulk, but she is built to be part of a cleave.
Yeah, it is very, very nicely stat lined, I would say. Okay. We'll talk more about carrot at the end, guys. Next PvP unit would be D Lilibet.
Probably designer, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, wait, Sigurd Scythe?
Yep, I like mine on Sigurd. I like to have the survivability.
So I'm assuming we draft it versus heavy debuffs, and then when she's on Sigurd Scythe, she's just unkillable. Is that kind of the gist? She'll slowly wear them down?
Yeah, that's the goal of it. I don't use her that much. So a lot of these units don't see that much play anymore, and this is why Kyrick kind of confuses me to some degree, because I feel like they're always a meta behind when they release units, because I don't feel like we're in a control meta as much as we've been in the past.
Yeah.
We're still in a debuff meta, I would say, just because of the burns, and especially with ML what is it, Kawanzu? I can't remember how his name's pronounced.
Kawazu? Yeah. You got it, pretty much.
It's going to be a interesting time with all of the burns getting tossed around, so.
Got it. They like the expression you had on Caerliss. Speaking of, guys, Ilanov's expression, Caerliss showed it to us at the start of the stream. It doesn't look great. It looks very lazy. All right.
So, one thing you might notice with my account is I love to friendship tag my units, just because, 1, it gives them Mola, and 2, with the Banshee 3 band setup, it's just so easy to friendship.
So I'm assuming, Caerliss, you love the penguin change, right? The farming for now that we can just farm with friendship units.
I have mixed opinions on it.
Oh my God,
but not because of the penguins.
That's fine. That's just another topic I would love to talk about. We're gonna have to see how much time we have. All right, okay, let's speed through the rest. Important units, Cerise. Let's see what we got here. 279, so not mega.
Cerise, I don't use her that much.
Is that personal preference, or you think there's just better options right now in the current scene?
I think she's still good into certain setups. It's just I prefer my speed gear on other units right now.
Fair. Okay. Alencia.
Alencia I do use on occasion just against some DN comps and just heavy buff comps.
Heavy buff comes to the end, sure. And it looks like the gear looks really solid. Very fast for that health, and looks like we're not neglecting defense fully. And with 30 Draco Plate, the 200 crit damage, this is a very nice Alencia, I think.
Yep.
Very solid.
She's
for
there
a
just for
backup
the
unit.
yeah. The speed's mostly just get the defense buff up because some drafts defense buff just wins the game.
Sure. All right, LQC. This is one that's kind of popping off lately. A lot of people are picking her. You picked her earlier today. Destruction build. I think we saw one of the World Championship finalists use a build kind of like this. That way, you want to tell the people what the idea behind this is?
This is basically built to one-shot whatever it attacks. The splash is still nice to have, and it still does a decent amount of splash, but the focus here is specifically for the S3 damage itself.
Right.
Just so you're going to 100% kill whatever you S3.
And it doesn't have to be
especially
a
if
dark
there's
unit,
an
right?
attack buff.
Yeah.
You need the attack buff, definitely, if it's not a dark unit. And it also comes down to mitigation, but you're much more likely to kill with this kind of build.
Right. Sounds good. All right, boys. Here's the second RB. And yep, it is DGen counter RB. Caerliss, go ahead and take us through the differences between the two. Which ones have you been liking one more than the other recently?
Recently, I've liked the Cleave RB a little more just because I've been trying out different Cleave builds. But against Cleave, the DGen RB always comes through.
Guys, stat line wise, who's got a DGen RB in chat right now? I think this health is very, very high. The speed is not 0, something to take note of. Crit is high enough. It is 50-50, but high crit damage attack for very good health. I think this is pretty nutty. Caerliss, gear wise for you, is this some of the better gear or no?
Some of it. So I like to mix match my pieces. I don't think there's any unit that has all my best gear in
sure.
a single slot, but
definitely he has some very good gear. Okay, damn. We can go back for that, Bobby, but we still gotta talk about some topics. So
yeah, we still got a ways to go.
Yeah, man, there's so many. All right, SBA, just give us your quick take. Unusable.
Don't use her.
Don't use her.
Yeah.
Amaru, good counter build.
Use her.
Yes.
Yep.
And we do the crit variant. This is what I would try to go for if I could. We're actually opting for some crit. Probably a little bit better than just going 0 crit full attack. And then the bulk is there. Speed is almost there. Or it is there. Yep. Not almost. It's all there. Yeah, very solid Amaru. I'll show the stats for the people wanting real quick. Which one are you talking about, Mason? The counter RB? Oh, they're talking about the no immunity on this one. Caerliss, any comment on the no immunity for the DGen RB?
I mean, when I generally draft them against Cleave, I'm trying to think about like what am I going to hit against in Cleave where I care about the immunity piece of it. So I'd rather have the bulk than the immunity against where I use them. And again, if I don't use him, or if I go into a Cleave setup, I know that I don't have immunity, so I know what to think about. And I could always just utilize other units too. So.
All right, Mason, acceptable answer. The Meru, yeah, they're loving the Meru. I need to farm Banshee, Caerliss. This is a nice Meru. Senya, let's see. We got full artifact. Thoughts on Senya?
I like Senya where I can use her. She's also another good Cleave unit. I love having her with the bulk and the extra damage. I had to move some of her gear over to Carrot. Funny enough, I had her built with a lot of Carrot's gear, but when Carrot came out,
Carrot stole some gear. Yeah.
Yeah. Carrot stole probably half her gear.
Yeah, and Carrot coming out also kind of put a dent in Senya a little bit, usability.
A little bit, just because Carrot does bring a little more utility as well, but the buffs that Senya does bring to the whole team does help too against Cleave. It's just that Senya is a little more difficult to bring, I would say, to comps where Carrot can. Plus, Carrot's a book holder, so.
Sure. All right, and then of course fighting Carrot. I think, would you bring Senya versus Carrots? Seems like not a great matchup.
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little tricky there because Senya counters, and countering into Carrot and stacking up those burns doesn't seem like a good idea, but...
Okay. Lilius is on Holy Sack damage build. Ooh, this is nice.
I have 2 Lilius, so I'm not sure which one you're looking at.
Oh, so there's 2 Lilius. The first one we're looking at is the 246 speed crit damage build.
That is the damage build.
Okay. 2 Lilies as well, boys. Is the other one ER? I guess we'll get to it when we can.
The other one has a little more bulk and a little more ER.
A standard. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So crit damage Lilies on 30 Holy Sack, boys. So far we've seen 2 SSBs, 2 RBs, 2 Liliuses, and what was the other? 2 Landies. 2 Landies. And they're all fully built. Also the Molas. Yeah, fully molded. Okay. Chaos Inquisitor not being used?
Don't use them.
Don't use them for it. All right. Apoc Ravi. Any quick takes on the...
Robbie I do use on occasion, but she's one of those units that falls off, but if the meta is right for her, she'll come back just because that res that she does bring is really good still. And she's still a hard unit to kill, but LQC kind of stole her thunder, so...
Oh, LQC, okay. Interesting take, yeah. Sounds good. Champ Z?
Champ C I still use.
Still use?
Again, debuffs aren't a huge thing nowadays, so when there are a huge amount of debuffs, he's still nice to have built, but he's just one of those units that are really meta-dependent.
This is a very nice gear on him, though. Like,
yep.
Seems like really, really solid stat line for Champ Z.
That's the thing is, if you want Champ Z, you want to have him built, and you never know when someone's going to throw debuffs at you, so...
Sure, sounds good. All right, watch sure you think is one shot? Or...
I think he's just gear holder.
Just gear holding right now. All right, we have a plus 15 Pro Horizon. Any usage?
He's just a gear holder.
Gear holder as well. Okay, A Tywin, gotta be used. Holy Sack fully maxed, 230 Holy Sacks.
A Tywin is not used as much as he used to be, but he's still used when the draft is right for him.
What do you think kind of stopped you from using him as much? Is it other options, or someone kind of... Is there a unit that sort of...
Carrot kind of walks over him.
Carrot is yeah, I think that's a lot of the reason. A lot of units right now is just hard to run. Okay, it's a nice... Guys, this is a nice A Tywin though, right? Immunity. Oh shit, he might have got moved out. Let me bring him back in. I got it. All right.
Got moved again. Not sure what.
I think
there's
it's just
some
the
AFK timers.
Yeah, all good, all good. I got it.
Good.
Anything else on the A Tywin? Nicely geared, even if he's being used less. You got immunity.
Yeah, I personally like to have my A Tywin with little damage. I know that there's some effectiveness builds out there, but I still like the damage builds more.
Damn, look at that 20 speed ring with a lot of defensive bulk. Yeah, it looks very good, man. Okay, Aramith, I'm assuming gear holding. Has to be. She's in a bad spot. A-Roz.
A-Roz I do use.
Wait, ER A-Roz?
Yeah. He does not see nearly as much play anymore as he used to, just because of once more meta shifts.
Yeah.
But he's still nice to have.
Can you comment on the effect resist? That's not something we see too often.
The effect resist is kind of just a lingering side effect from the A Tywin G perk metas, just because I like to have a lot of these units with effect resist just to kind of counter those units that didn't have a huge amount of effectiveness, but their stuns and their provokes and all of that could really be game changing.
We would call that like a specific meta adjustment, because a lot of players, right, they just dropped all their effectiveness, like your A Tywin 2 to maximize their stats, and so we take advantage, and this guy will not be stunned by those types of G perks and A Tywins. All right. Here's the G perk that you said a lot of units are speed tuned around. Oh my god, that speed. 244 G pergus, boys. Now, does he have to be that high? Is there a 234? Because the other units I saw you said you speed tuned were like 220-ish, I think.
Right. If he's not that high, you start running into risk of some speedy defense buff units, as well as some Diens generally run around that speed too. Ideally, you might even want him a little faster than that.
Oh my god, dude. That's bad news for me.
It works for me. Yeah.
Chat, can y'all make it 244 G perk while having still like good bulk and built bruiser? I don't think I can. I'm at Caerliss, I'm struggling at 220. He's already looking kind of scuffed. So this is really nice. Okay. I agree. I would like to go as fast as I could, but damn. Warhorn, obviously, this is his new best in slot, would you say?
I personally like it, especially in a cleave setup, just because it gives that extra attack boost.
Yeah, I've been liking it too. Okay. Very nice G perk, boys. Is there... Caerliss, there's not 2 G perks, are there? Just one?
There technically is, but I don't have the other one built.
Okay, maybe in the future. Celeste, is she getting some usage?
She's just there for the speed imprint, and then if I want to kind of speed contest with a CDOM or something.
Okay. You can just Photoshop. ML Ken. All right, guys. There were a few people in my chat that picked up the ML Ken. Any thoughts on him, Caerliss? You want to talk about
I haven't used him in so long. He's just there in case I come across someone who likes to run a Tywin and just no like damage threats, and I'll just throw him out there and see what happens.
This is actually the build that earlier Grim, and I think Red Eagle is also trying to make a build similar to this. The 150-ish ER. While having other stats on point. And you said you like it versus like A Tywins, that you said? The Golden Boys, maybe?
I like it against some teams that have no threats whatsoever. It's almost like a D Corvus pick where your opponent really has to set up a draft where he kind of shines in that kind of setup.
Sure. Yeah, 5th pick.
Yeah.
All right. Wanda, anything?
No.
Nope.
I do not use
Here's
Wanda
the
anymore.
second SSB live. Wait, we went for the Lifesteal. And no drink on this tanky Lifesteal build. Is that intentional, or the other drink is just being used?
The other drink is on Yuna, and I only have the one drink. And I don't actually hate Rosa Oregano on her just because one, those dual attacks are always going to trigger people, and two, the extra attack boost does actually really come in clutch for some of those damage and just healing.
I agree, Caerliss. You probably know this about me. I said the same thing, Rosa, but that was because I didn't have drink and I was making excuse. It is solid though if you don't have drink, and he said his other one's being used by Yuna. It's not bad at all. Okay. Lifesteal, you've been really liking that over just going for other sets for more taking?
I think where you can, if you could get to use a lifesteal set and still have good offensive and defensive stats, I would say it's always good to go for, especially for some of these units that zero speed's okay with. Nowadays, though, you want to be very careful with the zero speed units, just because there are a lot of units nowadays that can punish that, especially because more and more units seem to be going for higher speed as of late. So you want to be very careful with setting up something that could really get lapped, especially if you don't run immunity, and also especially if there's a unit out there that can clear your immunity, because it's so easy to get locked down.
Fair points, boys. I mean, Caerliss, if the meta shifts, we're going to have to tell the PvPers, right, more and more, start looking at Banshee a little bit more often, because maybe not better than, like, other sets you can put on, but I think a lot of players like yourself are opting for, like with the Stenny, a little bit more lifesteal. Now we have T-Cern, Stenny, and SSB. This might become the more preferred build. We'll have to see what people opt for soon. But you're liking it a lot, and I've seen a lot of other people too. All right, D Corvus, standard D Corvus Guild Wars?
Yeah, it's for Guild Wars and sometimes RTA if the draft allows it, but
like MLK, right?
Really,
yeah, they have to set up a team for you to build. Okay, sounds fair. Crow, we got to use this guy all the time, right?
Yep.
All right, boys. ER build 174 ER. Good enough speed. Health and defense on point. All right, it's a Crow.
It's a Crow.
It's a blue Crow, boys. Actually, the ER I would say is a lot higher than most people run their Crows. So, chat might be thinking, the HP's a little bit low for Caerliss levels, but it seems like you opted for more ER. Some people just do like the 100, if not like 150, right?
Yeah, the 100. I used to try the 100 ER build. I did not like it. I know that there's a lot of other people that do it, but it just seems like there's so many units that do run like a 50 or so effectiveness, and having him get provoked lock just really stinks, especially against like FCCs that have effectiveness.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. T Crows it.
I don't utilize him nearly as much as I used to, just because LQC.
Yeah,
but if I can draft him and LQC, I probably will.
Okay. Yeah, guys.
It's also nice just because Bastion.
He was in a great spot when his buffs. Everyone loved testing him, and I think everyone still says he's good, right? But obviously, with all the LQC because of the Mystic Banner, he definitely took a big hit in terms of viability. All right,
yeah, I do think he's still good. I just think that there's sometimes better options.
Yeah,
than him.
Fair enough. All right, the Fallen Cecilia. What? Wait, is this the only FCC, Caerliss? Or is there another one?
Technically, there is another one. I just don't have her built.
Nah, Bill. Okay, boys. Caerliss, run us through the ER build. I actually told someone in chat earlier. Now, guys, I'm still going to stay the same take. If you're a newer player, do not build ER FCC, all right? You won't be able to. It's not worth it, in my opinion. But Caerliss has something special here. You want to tell them why? Why the heck are we doing 162 ER?
It's a lot of the same reasons. Generally, where I'll use her is against some drafts that still utilize some of the tanky comps. Plus, flurries nowadays don't run too much effectiveness, and they like to try to flurry into the FCC just so she can't get her S3 off.
Yeah.
So it's just an easy way to get people to waste their flurry S3s, and some other abilities as well. Lilius provokes because you don't run immunity as well. So it's just a chance to get them to waste some skills.
We're taking advantage of the way the meta is building their units, correct?
Yes, it also means that there's rarely going to be any provokes that land on her, so she's always going to be able to land her provokes potentially, as well as kind of utilize her S3 wherever she wants to or when she wants to.
Okay, guys, 162 ER FCC. Did not expect that one. Here's the second Lilius, and this is the slight ER, and then the typical tank stats. Okay.
Yeah, so the thing about Lilius is I'll only use her into Bazaar, really, and I don't care for too much effectiveness on her, because really I care more about that 50-50 chance of Bazaar landing on
missing,
her.
Right. Yeah. Okay, two Lilius, boys. The other one was Cleave. This one is typical with actually some emphasis on the ER.
As well as a lot more bulk on it, too.
Sure. All right. Solitaria.
I've never used her once. She's just there in case I need to use her at some point.
And she looks great. But even for counter or anti-SSB, we're still opting for like Rowana?
Rowana, she's still good. As I said, I've never actually used Solitaria yet, so I'm still undecided on her.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
at least in the few times I've seen her being used on other streams, she seems good. So I like to have her built just in case.
Okay, sounds good. Tea time.
Still use.
Yeah, seems pretty typical. A little bit slower. Not even that slow, but you know, it's not speed contesting anything. But it has immunity, 160 effectiveness.
Yeah, she's not there to speed contest. She's
Right.
just there to land her stuff if I want to.
And the bulk is actually really high. Would you actually opt for dropping some bulk for more effectiveness, or this is exactly where you like her?
Depends how much bulk I would have to give up.
Okay.
But the more you drop bulk, the more risk you run into getting one shot by units like Assassin Sid. There are some fast rallies out there still, so you just have to be very careful with how much bulk you give up.
Sure. The only reason I mentioned is because, you know, I'm sure you've heard it too. There's a boogeyman tea time that everyone's saying is like running 200 now effectiveness. But so far, what I've seen from all the players I reviewed that play a lot of RTA, they're kind of around this level. I haven't seen too many actually like 200 plus.
Generally, where I use her, I'm using her in a cleave setup. So if they want to utilize that, I don't know,
There he is.
DJB or something else to
Yeah.
survive the Fairy Tale Tenebria, they're going to get one shot by the other cleave units anyway. So
All right, there they are. The 200 boogeymans are in chat, by the way, Caerliss. Okay, yeah, but that's a fair justification. Fighter Maya, looks like she's still very well geared.
yep, I still use her on occasion, just
Okay.
not nearly as much as I used to.
Fair enough, boys. I'll go if anyone wants to see the stat line. This is a really nice counter set, I think, and on 30 Elbrus, pretty good. All right. We don't have to talk about Momo. Do we still just say do you still use her anywhere in RTA?
I don't think I actually use Momo anymore. There are so many Soul Weavers out there.
Yeah, that's true.
That it's just, especially if you want to have them all built, good luck with that.
But I mean, for new players, like, still invest your Momo. Caerliss still has his geared.
Momo's still a
just,
solid unit.
I think that's the
player.
truth for a lot of players now. End game, you won't use her as much for PvP, but hey, he still has gear on. He might use her here and there. Sage Ball. This is one I think I need to get your take on, Caerliss. Thoughts on Sage Ball currently?
I still like him. Once more, he's one of those units that Carrot kind of hard counters because you can't really control her nearly as much as you can others.
Interesting.
Well, if you try to sleep her, she's just going to cleanse it.
Yeah, of course.
So
I'm agreeing with you.
but he's still a one-shot potential. Still a good anti-cleave unit. Still one of those units that's hard to kill and can really lock down a team if they don't have the immunity set up.
All right, sounds good. So another unit, but I feel like even before Carrot came out, Caerliss, people were already not drafting him as often as like when he was first released.
Right. Well, that's also because he's really good into certain teams and certain setups, and the
More
meta's going to
niche.
shift. And the meta's always going to shift, and some of these units are going to be moving in and out of meta.
Okay.
So.
I guess I just kind of expected he would be like a golden boy level. So a Tywin, even though a Tywin's a little bit less, like LRK, still solid. G Purgus still good everywhere, right? I thought he would kind of be a solid pick, but you're right. He's more falling in and out. Not meaning he's bad.
Right.
Tama PV, very nice PV Tama. Too good actually. Here's the Bazaar, boys. Immunity, got a tiny bit of bulk. 280 speed is pretty dang fast for a Bazaar. All right. Sounds good.
Ideally, I would like him faster, but again, I'm at the mercy of my speed gear. So.
I mean, 19, 21 helmet, 21 chest, 18 neck, 21 ring. If that's mercy, I understand for your level, we have to get him higher. But yeah, for a lot of us watching, that's still very, very nice. Flurry, JFA.
Flurry I still utilize, just not nearly as much. She's still good to have against like T times and all that.
Okay. Interesting. DJB.
She's not there to speed contest though. Yeah, DJB. I think I just ungeared yesterday.
So
just
this
for
is
other
backup.
units.
This is just random gear.
Yeah. It's a crit boot, so definitely.
Oh, true. Is there a reason you ungeared him? Just trying out other stuff? You think he's not great, or is it like the Momo situation? There's better Soul Weavers.
He's still good. Especially against certain setups, but I just have other plays against those type of setups. I don't like. So I'm one of those guys who really doesn't like stacking up ER on their ML units. I'd prefer going for the 50-50 elemental disadvantage.
Interesting. Okay, we're really like you mentioned with the Lilies for Bazaar. So DJB going for Caerliss, they're asking about Mui. I skipped it because you didn't stop me. Is she
I
actually
do not use her.
That's why too. Yeah, if you're asking. Mason, I apologize. The alerts are off right now. They want to see Green Violet. Is there a Green Violet? Are we going to see him, or did we skip him already, Caerliss?
He's not built.
Can you humor me for Mason real fast? What do you think about Green Violet?
Didn't he get a buff recently?
No, he's got a nothing. Not even an EE.
He could use a buff.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be okay if it wasn't for Carrot and other fire units, but I just feel like that he's...
Sorry, Mason. Yeah, you know what? I do think he might be next up in line, hopefully. All right, guys, I was scrolling through the gear on this LRK. Very fast. Boys, 248 LRK while still having good health. Of course, the defense is a little bit lower than some, but I would trade that easily for that much health and speed.
Yeah, he's there just for the cleave part of it as well.
And we're on symbol, okay. Boys, this LRK is very strong. My goodness. I like it. All right. Ruel.
Still use.
Still use Potion Vial. We are still going for like a 169 ER build. Some people dropping like to 100, but it looks like a normally Ruel, just not super emphasis on the high ER.
It's a Ruel.
Yeah, it's a Ruel. Not much to say. Good point. All right, I'll just show the stats real fast and then we'll move on. Are we using Destina, Rowana, Dien? All of those?
Destina, I tried her a few times against T-Time just because 50-50 check.
Elemental, sure.
Yeah. Rowana, I definitely use more than Destina, and Dien I utilize more than both.
Let's see the Rowana real fast. It is, boys. I'm assuming I'm going to say it's a Rowana. Yep,
yeah,
checks out.
Rowana.
It's a Rowana. Actually, a little bit better than some Rowanas. Okay. Dien. Very high ER, chat. Speed, almost at that 240 kind of just threshold a lot of people like to aim for. Bulk is there. It's a Caerliss is a very good Dien.
I like to have her a little faster, but I like her where she's currently at.
This is a nice Dien, guys. Not squishy. Very, very high ER. Hitting 200 while being 238 speed and bulk is kind of hard to do. All right, here's the Charlotte. And guys, Caerliss, I don't know if you heard me while I was commentating your match, but I remember from way long ago, everyone's running. Yeah, everyone's running JFA. Everyone's running like they're testing the Senya, which apparently sucks. Do you think the Senya artifact's good on her?
I have never tried it. I keep my Senya artifact on Senya. I prefer Addy Shield or JFA.
That's what I was getting at. So Caerliss told me a long time ago about the Charlotte Adamant Shield, because I like Knights. I don't, Carl loves running Knights. So if I could have a backup Knight that also does damage, and then if we need that extra mitigation, it's a nice like pocket pick. That's the same mentality since back then?
Yep.
All right, looks good. Wait, and you're saying not Lifesteal Charlotte. Have you thought about that? Any life guys?
I have so much Lifesteal.
Is that the new meta? Lifesteal meta, boys. My God. All right. Well, looks good. Alencia, yeah, we showed Alencia. Guys, do me a favor, check the VOD or go into YouTube because we still got some stuff to talk about, man.
I think we're getting to the end of the list here. It's just gonna be I think healers and tanks.
You want to shout out what I stop on? Let's look at this blue neck. Caerliss, I think I have the same exact blue neck, dude. It has 16 speed and like some random decent subs. Boys, I think I have this necklace.
I think that is the only blue piece I've actually 90'd, and it's because of the 16 speed.
Yeah, fair enough. Looks like a Doris. Caerliss, just tell me which units we need to
I think
on.
Carmen and Oxlots are probably going to be some of the last two units. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything beneath Oxlots.
The crit damage is just because it's a crit damage neck, right, with high speed? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
All right, 283
and then
speed.
The Carmen as well. Oh there's a few killers down there, it looks like.
Carmen, ER build. That's not something we see a lot. Any comment on the ER build?
Just like having some ER, just so you can't get really too controlled against some of those default base units, a Taiwan specifically.
Have you been actually drafting her?
I like to have her basically against some teams that have a lot of damage, but I don't utilize her too much. She's kind of facing the same treatment as Crozet right now.
Okay, sounds good. You said we need to stop on which one?
There's some Soul Weavers down there, actually. Elena, Meg Chloe, and...
Meg Chloe. All right, let's start with Meg Chloe.
Haze, I think.
Water's Origin, 20k health, 213 speed. ER at about 150 after her buff, right? Or is it... Yeah, 150 ER after her.
Yep.
Because it's not included, correct? That's two? Or it is?
So, I don't know, actually. I've been doing some investigation around that.
Yeah. I think they said it's not tooltip. The tooltip does not show ER.
Oh, it does not, no.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, right.
Well, see, that's the part that's really confusing is it doesn't here, but for someone like A Ravi, it does. So
and Luna,
confusing.
Right?
I think and
Luna's
as well.
crit shows on. Yeah, that's why I always get confused too. Anyways, yeah, they're confirming it. Okay. Make Chloe as a whole, Caerliss.
I mean, she's solid right now.
Very solid. Yeah, I don't think anyone will disagree. Blood Moon Haste looks like we don't have crit chance, but very high health, very high defense, good speed, immunity. Yep. It's a haste. Not much to say.
That Blood Moon Haste has won me so many games just because of how tanky he is.
The 22k plus 2000 defense, huh? Can you tell the people where do you automatically bring him outside of like Arby's and Chloe's? Is there any other areas?
It's mostly just Arby's and Chloe's.
Arby's and Chloe's right now.
I used to bring him in against Cleve just so they don't go into Arby, and just because he's just a big threat, especially with Idol's Cheer. But nowadays there's just better options against Cleve as well.
Got it. Okay. All right. Oh, they're correcting me on the Luna thing. Okay, my bad. No, that's what I was saying. Luna's doesn't show, but May Chloe's does show. Anyways, boys.
I think Elena
point... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say, I think Elena up above was probably one of the last
Elena?
units as well.
Sure. Let's look at Elena. Shut up, chat. This is Caerliss review, not rose card time. All right. Counter Elena, boys.
I like Elena against tea time teams. Just because if she does counter, she's going to cleanse some of those provokes.
We haven't seen a lot because I remember, what was it, last season? I don't know if it's a tournament situation or just a lot of people were opting for the 200 ER with Celestine on counter. Yeah. So you're saying you still like it versus tea times?
Yes. I still like it versus tea times and especially AoE teams just because it does bring the mitigation as well.
Boys, another Banshee. So not just counter like Elenov also testing, but for actual meta picks, Caerliss, real fast. I don't want to bring this off topic, but Banshee versus Wyvern, do you think Banshee's getting more and more like appealing, I would say? This is a lot of units you like and a lot of people also like.
If you have a good amount of speed gear, Banshee is definitely good to at least get into, just because having a counter set and having a lifesteal set is really nice to have in your pockets, especially if there's ever a unit that needs that.
Of course. I'm just thinking maybe we start recommending to shift even sooner to Banshee. But we'll see.
That's difficult because speed is always going to be king. For the most part, you're always going to want to have your units on speed.
For sure. All right, because anything else we missed? I think we're at the end of the road. That's the second A-Lots. Oh, Acades, they were saying... They said low... Chat, y'all said low ER Acades? I mean, where do you use this, Caerliss?
I don't really utilize her that much.
Maybe
anywhere.
Guild Wars sometimes?
Yeah, maybe Guild Wars, but even there, not too much.
And I'm assuming you have the EE, or the Effect Resist E. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I guess people that do use their Acades for cleansing, you'll need more, but I think mine's at the same. I never draft her almost. Yeah. All right. I think that's it, right?
I hope that's everything.
And then there's some other units that may... Caerliss, is there any other units that we're going to see a third copy of or a second copy of that just haven't been built yet?
I mean, I have a second Dark Corvus that's just never gotten built. If you want to see like units I have second copies of, just look at my storage as well as my
oh Lord
hero box.
All right, Caerliss, let's go. We're gonna shotgun some of these topics, boys. Does anyone have any AMAs? Actually, you know what? Real fast, I can show. Please do me a favor though, just wait for the YouTube or check the VOD. That way we can save some time. But if y'all really need to see unit, I can show it real fast while we move on to the topic section. You said storage or the waiting room?
Both.
All right, so first off, storage, boys. Does anyone need in chat? Who needs a Dark Corvus Stenny? Anybody? Made Chloe? DJB? I got y'all. I'll hand it out right now. My God, Caerliss. All right. How many coins are you sitting at, by the way?
I think I have 110 ML coins right now.
Have you used any yet?
No, the only thing I've ever used them on are mullahs and basically.
Oh, so you did spend a little bit on mullahs, but are you saving for a particular hero or anything?
Maybe an Obsigret.
Another Obsig. He mentioned, guys, he wants as many. How many Obsigs do you need? You said at least more than one, right? It sounded like as many as you could get.
I think 2 would definitely be enough.
2 would be enough.
Probably having three, I think would be way too much.
All right, boys. There's another DJB, another May Chloe, another Specimen says Ruel, J Key say another Stenny. Guys, what'd you pick from the Moonlight Selector? Was it in a second RB?
Third RB.
Okay, my third RB, boys, from the Selector. All right, chat. Why is there 4 DNs in the storage? That's the first AMA we got, Caerliss.
Because Guiding Light hates me.
Oh, boys. I guess, you know what, Caerliss? Let's go ahead and jump into the Q&A. Let's go ahead and segue into that just real fast. We don't have to spend long on this topic, but group summons, Caerliss. I know you had an interesting take. Well, not interesting. It's a fair take. Group summons, moving forward. That's why you had a lot of DNs, right? Because you were going for Guiding Light on the group summon banner?
My issue with group summon banners are basically this. I'm not sure if maybe it's because of where I'm at in the game, but I feel like artifacts in this game are so much stronger than heroes, and that it's really the artifact that makes or break a hero versus the hero making or breaking an artifact.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, there's some requests by the Caerliss for they want to claim those stennies. You'll pick your favorites, right? Later, you'll give out those stennies too and stuff. All right. So guys, he said where he's at. I haven't heard too much of that artifact because of where he's at. Remember, he made it clarify where he's at in the game. artifact over hero. Now, Caerliss, obviously it's because we have a lot of the heroes, so the more important part for you is the artifact situation.
But
okay.
even going back to like some of the things that you always say on your stream too, like how strong basket is, especially things like abyssal. Let's not forget books as well. These artifacts are so strong in the game that I think having a banner where the chance of getting those artifacts is so low is really it hurts a lot of people trying to get up into later parts of the game, especially when let's say that you're trying to build a full copy of drink, which, let's face it, that's where you're going to want to be at if you want to run a drink, because having a single drink, you're going to miss so many drink procs that you're going to be probably kicking yourself. You'll probably want to run another artifact anyway. I think having a shared banner or a group banner where your chances of getting drink are so low that it's really, it hurts, especially in a game like this where not having that can really more or less break, not so much break a unit, but make a unit feel a lot worse than what it's currently at.
Okay, yeah. So I remember there was a little bit of contention between us both. I think I ultimately said, though, I agree, as the later you are in the game, the group summon banner is going to be worse for you, right? But my overall argument, and I don't think you disputed this, was just that, you know, it'll help new players. It sucks for us. It's not fair to us for sure. But yeah.
But let's look at, and the other reason I'll say that artifacts are in a spot where I feel like they are much more important than some heroes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's look at artifact like Black Hand of the Goddess, for example. You're able to basically build a mage with, let's just say, 20 more speed and 24% less crits, and throw that artifact on her and basically outspeed so many units. There's streamers out there who basically run a 290 plus top model Lilica just because
they can get
Black
the
Hand of the
extra
Goddess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that'll make artifacts like what? Let's say look at the Mortelix artifact, which a lot of people like aren't looking at, but like would we say the base crit there could also open up other builds for other knights, things like that?
Yeah.
Interesting take.
Especially if they continue going down this route with throwing like a base crit chance or base C damage increase to some of these artifacts, which it seems like is the direction that they want to take the buffs to these artifacts. It could really make some of these artifacts that much more broken if they do continue to go down that route. Because imagine if they make an artifact that gives you a base stat line in addition to souls at the beginning of your turn. Basically a 5-star book.
Wait. Sorry, mentioning again about a 5-star book. You said they might make one in the future?
Well, imagine if they do.
Yeah, and then imagine it's on a group banner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's
the thing. I understand, like, first come, first serve. It's definitely good for us players, but imagine if you're one of those players that was unlucky the first time around. Well, good luck the second time around nowadays.
Yeah, sure. If we want multiples, right? If you can just be okay with one, they put in a small place for the the discounted 100-point artifact pickup. But like Caerliss is saying, if it's a super strong artifact and you like to pull multiples to max limit break, you're in a tough spot for sure.
The other thing is, though, some of these artifacts, they're really only, I would say, only good if you have them at MLB. Especially some of these ones where you want the 100% proc chance. And I think those proc chance artifacts, it really hurts the game to have those in them, but I understand why Smilegate does it.
Sure. All right, and I think that's a good that whole thing was not necessarily a super hot take, but I think that would be categorized under here. I wrote a few other notes, Caerliss. Is there any of these? I think we kind of covered the speed. You mentioned the way you like your speed.
Yeah.
Boys, so one more time, if you are, here's a long story short. He mentioned 290 top model Lulicas. I know in chat, a lot of y'all have 270 top model Lulicas, 250 op sigs. What's another example? 250 Arby's. Caerliss is running all of his kind of slower. Now, he said, of course, he would like to get higher speed if he could, but that's not stopping him from running them. And I know his gear is insane, but the thought process should be, you'll have to think a little bit harder on both what you bring with them and what your opponent's using, but they can work at slower speed levels. Is that
right?
Is that what your take would be, Caerliss?
Yeah, and keep in mind, top model Luca nowadays is generally going to be one of your last picks anyway. And what are you going to try to outspeed for the most part in those drafts? If they don't have a speed contester, you can always just ban their last pick if your second last pick with your top model Luca. But I'd rather have her have more damage so she might be able to kill that degen RB versus having her faster and leaving the RB alive with 2 HP.
Sorry, Caerliss, you're asking if Carrot's getting nerfed. No. That was just a. I wrote this down so I don't forget. Talking points for later. Yeah. Why don't we jump to that real fast? Because I think we. Sorry, real fast. Anything on immunity versus no immunity? We kind of covered it. Chat actually said there was a few units you ran where you said you really prefer immunity, but even you, right? You had some crit chance where you would say if you could get immunity, you'd like it, but of course, that's not going to stop you from running the unit, and it still looked damn good on the crit chance. So, Caerliss is on the immunity camp. Any other things you want to say on that, or no? We good?
No, I think that
In the immunity camp, if possible. But even he has, even with all his gear, he still has some units on crit chance where he would opt for immunity, but it's good enough right now.
Yeah, think of it this way. Immunity is always going to be an extra 15% check that your opponent has to get through as well.
Right. All right, let's get to this. Let's start with ML Kowarik. You mentioned him earlier when we were looking at the units. You said he's in a weird spot, correct? You said
that's probably a good way of putting it.
Yeah, he's too early for the meta? Is that what you said?
I think that this is not a good meta for him. He might be better if there was more a crowd control based meta, but I'm not entirely sure what exactly they were thinking with his kits. I feel like that there could be a meta where he definitely is better, but I don't think he's ever going to be like tier 1 or tier 0. But right now, I definitely agree that a lot of people thinking that he definitely doesn't look too strong, but that's just because of what the meta is right now, and him being a dark unit into a meta where LQC is much more prevalent because she just had a rate up is
good point. Pretty
strange.
Kaz, did you pull for Quirk or no? Oh, you did? We have one! Okay, so he's not...
I pull for all units, yeah.
He has every... I saw the journal. It's like 98% or something on the hero journal. What are we
missing?
the
only two units I'm missing are specialty change units.
Oh, okay. So you have them. You just have to get around to doing it, right?
Yeah, they're units I would never use, but I still have to do them.
Yes, guys, this is a Caerliss. We're on the guest talk part. If you want to see some of the units, I can maybe show at the end, but just wait for the YouTube or check the VOD, okay?
I'm still a firm believer that there was some missed memo where Cowrick's kit was supposed to be Kwanzoo's and the other way around. So,
dude, if Kawazu, guys, Caerliss is saying if the Kawazu, the S2 super stacked S2 against AOE, self heal, cleanse, and then the burn, detonate, nuke that ignores ER, you're saying that might have been better on Kawarik?
That would have been 100 times better in my opinion.
Boys, he's not wrong. I didn't even think of that. Why does Kawazu's gear set or skill set looks so good, and then Kawarik's, while it could be good, like everyone's saying, I don't think anyone flat out has said like he just straight up sucks besides Jinte. Everyone's like he probably has a spot somewhere eventually. But I agree, man. If they put Kawazu's kit, maybe just, do you think the numbers, they might have had to adjust the numbers a little bit though, no? Maybe slightly better?
Probably, but don't get me wrong. I do not think that Cowrick's a bad unit.
Yeah,
I just think that.
Yeah,
I just don't think that right now he's in the best of places.
Sure. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on from that topic. Oh, I guess Carrot. So you said, guys, Carrot is not getting nerfed, whether you want it or not. Well, I don't know if she is or not, but the point was that Caerliss mentioned earlier that he doesn't think Carrot should be nerfed. Do you want to take the floor on that one?
I don't think that she should be nerfed yet. I think that she should at least be given her chance to be used. And I think really Smilegate needs to give the community a chance to really figure out how they want to combat her. Whether that be building up some water threats, building up certain units that they didn't have built up before just to counter her. It's just like if there's ever going to be a strong unit that comes out, people need to be given the chance to find out what the counter is that unit, and once that counter is found, then chances are they're going to see less play. Now, don't get me wrong, Carrot's definitely a strong unit, so probably as strong as Flurry was back in the day, and her ability to hold book is definitely one of those big threats.
Sure.
But do I think that she's tier 0? No. I mean, if she was tier 0, she'd have 100% win rates in the E7 World Championship.
So then, Caerliss, is there a tier 0 unit if you had to make a tier list?
No, I do not believe that there's a tier 0 unit.
Would Carrot be very high up though in your tier list, like with the rest of the top tier?
I would say that she's definitely high up there. I'd be crazy if I didn't say that she was at least probably around tier 1 status.
Okay, fair enough.
She's definitely strong for what she is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's some things that the community says that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And part of that
Caerliss is being not polite, but when you hear him actually talk, some guys, you should see when he's in a trolling mood in chat, you'll be surprised it's the same guy. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. What were you saying?
So one of the things I don't really understand is how the community can, I think I can't remember whose chat I said this in, but basically the community says, oh my god, this 3-star hero is too strong, we want more ML units to be stronger. Oh my god, this ML unit's too strong, give us more RGB units that are strong. Like, I feel like we go in a full circle where Smilegate's trying to give us some of these units that are more free-to-play friendly and still strong, sometimes at the same level as the ML units, but then everybody suddenly cries because they did that. But it's what they were asking for. And then if there is a ML unit that they come out that's basically at the same strength as this unit, people will say that they're too powerful and they need to be nerfed.
Yeah. It's a lose-lose for Smilegate, honestly.
It is a lose-lose, and that's why I think that really Smilegate just needs to let the meta adjust. They need to let the community find out what the counters are,
yeah,
and go from there. Now,
you know sorry, let me just interject real fast, Caerliss. I think that's actually not that controversial of a take, unless chat disagrees. I like that too. Let's not do any spur of the moment nerfs or buffs. Let's let it sit for a minute, and I think so far. That's kind of their agenda at the moment, right? That's their. It kind of lines up with their buff schedule, anyways. But that's just a good point.
Now, if we're fast forward 6 or 7 months, and Carrot's still as crazy as she is right now, do I think that she needs to be adjusted? Of course, it's just like Fire Corvus at that scenario,
right?
But
and
at least
the main thing I'll say, Caerliss, you're right, because you said 6 months, right? So there was a bunch of units, guys, on the review where Caerliss said, you know, this unit was really good. But Carrot's kind of displacing them slightly, or more than slightly. And if 6 months down the line, Carrot is still doing that for every new unit that comes out, that's probably an issue. Sorry, did you have anything else on the Carrot take?
No. And the other thing to think about there is if they nerf a unit too quickly, you're basically adjusting the meta with the update to Carrot, but then you're going to quickly shift the meta once more when they nerf Carrot. So again, let the meta adjust. Let everybody find out how they want to counter Carrot. If the community can't find a counter to Carrot within a couple of months or anywhere 4 to 6 months, then I think Smilegate should step in and see what they can do to correct their mistake.
All right, boys. Chat, can y'all last 4 months try to find some Carrot counters? And then we'll see. I honestly, it probably lines up. If they didn't want to do her on the next balance update, guys, Caerliss's kind of projection is sort of what it's going to be anyways. If she doesn't make it to the next round of balance adjustments, which, by the way, chat, I got to be very clear on something. Smilegate has so far said they're not going to nerf anything, so don't get your hopes up if you were on the nerf Carrot side. This might be the first time, though, because she's a 3-star specialty change where they obviously overtuned.
See, Car, they don't nerf units anymore, they rework units.
Yeah, so would we say, who was the last rework? They did, you're right. Can you give me an example so we can tell chat that I remember seeing a few things where either the multipliers got adjusted, but they did it well, where the players, like the stove players that look, they won't think it's a nerf, right? Was there a good example, chat, or Caerliss?
The last one that I could think of, it wasn't so much a rework as it was a bug fix, was Shoutout.
Of course, but that one's like almost that. Everyone just called that a nerf, but we all just agreed it was a bug fix. But you're right. There's some examples. I think chat's saying Axe God. They could try to like lower her multipliers while maybe giving something else. I'm sure they'll need to be tricky about it because their official statement was no nerfs, right? But you're right.
Honestly. Yeah, I'd have to see how this actually works. If she gets extra damage for every stack of burns, not so much stack of burns, but turn of burns as well. Because if that's the case, and you're getting all that damage from like 2+ turns of 2 stacks of burns, maybe reduce the turn count of the burns just so it's 1 turn of burns, or maybe just 1 stack of burns. Because that is one thing that I feel like she's a little overtuned with.
Oh, dang it, he got moved out. Oh my god, let me bring him back in. Where'd he go? Sorry. Yeah, are you on your phone or something where you're not able to like click on the Discord?
No, I'm on computer.
Oh, okay. I don't know why the AFK auto thing is moving. Anyway, sorry, you got interrupted. You were saying about the burns on the Carrot.
I'm not sure where I got cut off there, but basically I think that maybe reduce the amount of turns of the burn or reduce the amount of burns, just so her one shot is still there, just not nearly as easy as it is right now.
Sure, fair enough. Anything else on the balance part, Caerliss? Because I got our next topic that I wrote down earlier.
No, honestly, I think that the game right now is in a very good place, and I think that having the community adjust to the shifting meta is a better approach than Smilegate basically introducing a new meta. Yeah, introducing a new meta every other release of units and bug fixes.
I so meant like here's guys philosophically, and I'm not trying to get all like fancy with y'all, but like on a fundamental level, I agree with Caerliss. That's at like a perfect world level. But Caerliss, if Smiley doesn't make a lot of changes, man, all we see are like stale meta or OP meta, nerf Caerliss. Like I don't know how much of like 3 months of that I can live through. Even if at the end of the day, like we should have a player adjusted, you know, have players come up with answers. It's just tough, man. Right? With all the complaints running around, it just seems like we have to accelerate sometimes, force changes.
That's definitely a good point, but at the same time, all these people are saying, "Oh my God, Caerliss too broken." I'm more concerned about the next ML 4-star unit because I think that, yeah, I think Kawazu is going to be the unit that's going to make a lot of people very upset.
We'll see.
Personally.
And I'm so excited, but I hate that he's probably going to be with maybe Ruel, and I don't think I can pull for that.
Well,
all right.
That's the thing is he's going to be an ML 4-star too, so there's no permanent chance you're going to get him with your rolling of Mystics.
Oh yeah, I guess let's talk about that real fast. So along with the group banner, Caerliss, do you have any ideas of how they could maybe make a new way for players? Chat, also chime in, especially my veteran.
Question.
Do you not want to say it, or is it going to just be spite? Hold on, let me ask chat something real fast. Guys, do you have any ideas, or do you like how currently you get 4 stars, new 4 stars? It's been a minute. Ever since Kawazu's sister, Great Chief Kawana, we had a long break of no new MLs, right? But beforehand, if you wanted a new ML4, you had to risk your Mystics, and if you were lucky enough, you needed the ML5 too. But for veteran players, it's kind of a tough spot where if you don't like the unit that's being rerun, it's like you never want to feel bad for using summons, but that's what that's where we're at. Maybe, Caerliss, you know what? Give your take, dude. What do you think they should do?
Don't forget, I miss how limited MLs were.
Oh, that's true.
I hate what they're doing nowadays with MLs. So this is not a question you want to ask me.
So basically, your take would be it's fine as is. They should be rare.
Yeah, personally, I think they should be rare. I just think that's kind of bonkers right now because I feel like ML5s are less rare than some ML4s right now.
No, I respect that. I respect that. Okay. But do you think there's a little bit of even if they weren't rare, like maybe not make it easier to get, but are you okay with like the anti-synergy of them being with a rerun unit, and so the longer the player progresses, because it's kind of in line with the group banner thing, no? It's just not a good take for veteran players.
Yes and no, because keep in mind at the point in the game where I'm at, I care more about imprints as well too. So this is a good chance for me to get imprints of units. So
okay. Fair enough.
Let me put it this way. I've never gone into rolling on it for a new 4-star and thinking, God, I wish that there was a new ML5 that I could be rolling for instead. Because for the most part, I'll wait until there's a RGB that I'm happy with and then roll there, just so there's a chance I might get some imprints as well.
All right, Chad, I like some of your takes. I agree with some things you're saying. But Caerliss said from his standpoint, he said he can kind of understand the anti-synergy. But yeah, from his standpoint, I totally get the keep them rare sort of thing. And he didn't want to talk about it too much.
I feel like that ML5s are just a joke nowadays because they're basically making the game so anybody should be able to get any ML5 as long as you play the game, really.
Yeah.
Whereas ML4s, I feel like, are going to be the most rare characters in the game at some point.
Unless, Caerliss, they bring in another bug fix like CDOM, where we can just choose ML Kawazu.
Don't get me started on selectors.
Okay, yeah, we won't go to selectors, boys. Last thing, or not maybe the last we'll do if you have anything else you can think of, but I did want to talk about, you mentioned something about the penguin system. Wait, where do I even see the... Anyways, penguin system, Caerliss. You said there's something interesting about it that you want to talk about? So
the only thing that I hate about the penguin system is that I actually have to promote my dogs now with 2-star fodder instead of just feeding away all my 2-star fodder away instantly. And I basically have to manage my inventory much more than I had to in the past.
So there's one negative downside. Elaborate on it again for me. The beforehand with the phantasms, you did what?
This is by far me just not being as min-maxing as I could be.
Sure.
And when I'm doing like side story or anything and I'm getting a lot of the 2-star fodder filling up my hero box.
Yeah.
Before, I would just say I don't care about all this. I would just feed all of the 2-star fodder away into like a 3-star dog or XP? Something. As XP, yes.
As XP. Oh, okay. Yeah, Caerliss. Yeah, that is a that's a whale take. That's a you're not min-maxing. You have so much shit you want to get rid of fast. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
but
overall, is there anything
you
else?
cannot do that anymore.
Sure, right. I don't know. Did they have to take that away from us? Guys, did they have to remove the enhanced heroes to make the whole system more streamlined? Because the penguin is in another page, no? I feel like they could have just... Maybe it took place of that, the UI. Maybe the UI developers needed that button or something.
Yeah, personally, I don't know why they took away the ability to enhance with that
Well,
stuff. Unless it was basically just because only whales are going to be enhancing with other fodder, other units anyways. So.
Sure, but Caerliss, let me get you on the record. Do you like the new penguin revamp overall? There's some minors, downsides, of course, like you mentioned. Overall, do you like the penguin?
Because it's no longer penguins in my inventory. So
and let me see your friendship. He mentioned, guys, he has a lot of friendship units. Do you know how many?
Yeah, have fun counting all the friendship 10s.
Wait, can I sort by the...
Yeah.
I can't sort only friendship 10s, though, where it'll just give me the number, right?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh my god, chat!
The reputation is not going to tell you either. Because
guys, I'm not going to count this. I almost lost my mind counting the reforged stuff. Do you have an idea, Caerliss? Can you just give them a ballpark?
I have no idea. Basically, anytime that there's a new 5-star that might
guys,
be utilizing, that just throw them in Banshee.
It's still go. Okay, there we finally ended. Okay, well, friendship gaming expression, right? We're doing
expressions
for the
plus
and
the molas.
Yeah, so both gameplay and aesthetics.
Yeah, to answer the question of how much I farm, I will generally have a unit friendship 10 the day after they come out if I throw them on my Banshee 13 team.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, they're saying Elson is 10 stuff is friendship 10, dude. All right, Caerliss, is there anything else you want to bring up or chat? Any questions we might have missed? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but if you were playing early on in the game and you had Elson, your Elson would be friendship 10 too.
I didn't have the Trinity, and then I pulled DN.
It wasn't even the Trinity. I mean, Elson was available through...
No, I get that, and I did use him, but I don't think I played him enough because I started opting for DN instead. Does that make sense? Because I think he got nerfed pretty quickly. I didn't start day one. I started like...
I don't think it was that quick. I think he got nerfed right before DN's release, if I remember correctly, because they wanted to give you a reason to go for DN.
Oh, that might have been the case then. I started like I started at the tail end of the DN banner, so I was like what month? Was that month?
Yep.
Month 1 or something, or month 2, something like that. Anyways,
right. I think the other issue is when people basically recalled their Elson.
Yeah.
They fed away their high friendship Elson by mistake because they didn't realize that.
Oh, actually, that might be true too. Also, Caerliss, I left you a surprise. I changed his expression for you. All right, chat. Any questions for Caerliss? Caerliss, anything else we didn't talk about? Should we do like one last mega spicy take or no? I think if it's gonna be on YouTube, it's up to you.
If you have a spicy question that you want to ask, feel free to ask me it.
I don't know if I have one off the top of my head. We've been talking about it all over. Chat. Anything you want to ask Caerliss right now while we wrap things up? Definitely the most duplicate units we've ever seen.
If you want to look at my pets, you can look at my pets.
Oh, that's right. He always gives me shit for
because I think I'm probably the only person who really kind of min-maxes the
them?
pet system still. So
okay, so we have a bunch of 4-star pets, and then what is it that we're min-maxing the other players aren't right now, Caerliss?
I want my pets ready in case they come out with a updated pet system and also a new pet that I want to build basically. So basically, going through my pets, you'll see they have a lot of 4-star S's. Generally, a lot of them are going to have 2 of the S's that you want to keep.
And then we're going to save the last one for when we finalize the
yes.
choice. Okay. All right. Yeah, that is a lot of triple S pets. Oh, no, sorry, guys. They're not all triple S. Look at the 4-stars. He's saving that last one for future-proof is what he's saying.
Yep. And I'm still waiting for 5-star pets.
All right. We got a question in from Hesmana, Caerliss. Why is the game too easy now, and how would you make it harder?
I would make it harder by not catering to what the general populace wants changed. Basically, I really miss some of these things such as the old tower setup, how difficult that was.
I never even got to experience that much. It got changed so fast.
And as much as I like the new tower system, I like it not because it's difficult, but because they tried something new with it. And I think that's how they really should be going about the game if they want to dumb down the contact, for lack of better ways of putting it, is you could dumb it down but make it more fun. Make it more fun by implementing different types of systems, whether it be that rune system that they have in the current tower or something else. I don't like nerfing content because although you're making it easier for the newer players, you're basically taking away some of the difficulty that the older players are enjoying for some.
So reintroduce mega difficulty content, like very, very hard content, like harder than Abyss.
there's an issue with that. If you introduce the mega difficult content, you're going to have players complain that they can't complete the mega difficult.
Yep. But
content.
you know what, Caerliss? I'll say this. Now that Smilegate has done so much new player stuff, let him cry. I'm serious, guys. You know, all my content is catered towards new players. If you still are crying because they introduce a content that's too hard for you, sorry. Enjoy your free RB and start working towards it. But I think that's fair, man. I think at this point, if they want to, let's just, you know, for the past few months, we've been catering all to new players. Let's have some in-game stuff, too.
Yeah. If there's two things actually that I want to see Smilegate really turn a focus on, and this is just small content pieces that I feel like they just haven't touched at all recently, and they probably forgot about. One is the pet system. The other system is the mission system in the Sanctuary.
I've been saying that.
I feel like, yeah, the Sanctuary feels like it could be so much better. They could throw, whether it be crafting mats, reforge mats, give actual experience or friendship points for it.
They can make a brand new game within the game, you know what I mean? Like actually have to worry about what kind of skills you can work towards, guys. I don't want them to, but they could even like make that not monetize, but a reason to pull for other units that like don't have a spot. You know, like Fire Araminta could get you. She might bring back some like Caerliss. Would you say Molas maybe or something?
That's probably, I wouldn't say Molas.
Well,
but
something
like,
good, right?
Reforge mats. Crafting mats, really anything. I mean, right now what they have is definitely, it's not the worst, but for people that always do arena, always do their hell raids,
you know,
I mean,
I'll say this, it's not the worst, guys. It's free stuff. A lot of you are like, Car, that's how I get all my conquest points. Me too. But it is pretty ass terrible if we talk about how good the rest of E7 is. This is like day one stuff that never got changed. It is something like players you just set in and forget it. It's almost like they should just hand this to us every month or something, man. I don't know.
Well, even if it's just like, give these units friendship that you're dispatching out there or something.
Yeah.
It could be anything like that.
All right. Yeah, I like that take. So that one, and what was the other one? The pets and high command. Yeah. Okay. All right, boys. Any other questions? That was a good. I like that question from chat.
As far as my I-90s go, I have a lot more reforge mats I just need to utilize. I'm not sure if you actually took a look at those.
Let's go show the chat if they have any other questions here. Crafting materials.
It's not even the crafting materials, it's just the reforge mats. But you could clearly see what I farm just by looking at reforge mats.
Wait, so...
You have to go down to reforge.
I can also check it in your inventory, no? But we'll go
yeah, you should be able to check there. Still workshop's just easier.
Oh my god! Wait! Some people in chat, guys, have no manifestation stones for their I-90s. Caerliss, that's where they all went. You took them all. 15,000. You know, guys, I will say this, though. If anyone remembers, when manifestation stones first came out, and I'm going to give Caerliss some credit here, there was a time where it was the definite bottleneck, right? It was a new feature. Everyone loved it. It was so hard to get. Yep. We were like, we need a little bit more. And they did end up giving a little bit more through, I believe it was Expedition. Now, Caerliss from day one was he was like, Car, you're going to have a lot of it. I'm already having too much of it. And I'm finally at that point. Now, Caerliss, to take it a little bit back, though, from you, it did take a while for me to get there. So I didn't mind that they gave a little bit. But you were right from your perspective. You're now sitting at 15,000. It's like your bottleneck, too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Also, I haven't even cleared Kitty's Hunt 1 yet. That's why that's sitting at 0.
Yes, actually, Jinte, I'm not going to say live right now, but Jinte had something to say about Katie's.
Katie's is one of those hunts that you do if you want to purposely waste resources.
So like Golem, in your opinion?
Actually, it's funny you say that because I haven't done Golem 11, 12, or 13 yet. All of those Golem reforged mats are from Expeditions.
Okay. All right. Guys, anything else you want to... Yeah, they don't like that you have 15,000. How can I achieve this in 3 years? Good luck. Good luck. What do you want the collab to be, Caerliss? Fate.
If I got to pick it, I would definitely say Fate or some of the Nasuverse setups. Fate would be nice. I think K&K would be nice. Really anything from Nasuverse would be nice.
we love Carno Kokai here in the Car 6 community. Caerliss is one of them.
Yeah, I heard that you actually watched some of the episodes.
Yeah, Caerliss, I actually introduced you to Carno Kokai. Remember when you first came in? You're like, Car, I need some anime recommendations. And I said, dude, K&K, you got chef's kiss. You got to watch it, brother. And now he's a big fan. Okay. Caerliss, 520 million gold. Chat keeps pointing this out. Is there a method? Is there a secret? Or it's just we farm a lot and don't use a lot of it?
Don't upgrade useless pieces. Don't. I guess the thing is that I don't nearly equip and unequip stuff as much as other people do, and I don't upgrade too far into a piece unless it's really rolling good.
Okay, let's tell them something here for me real fast. There you go. Car, why are you, it's not, when I'll say something like, guys, I'll wait for free and equip, right? Because it's coming up the weekend of. Car, you got 200 mil. You can spend that right now. If you guys want to reach the 520 mil threshold, boys, you gotta save when you can. Now, you know, there's a point where you're being too stingy here and there. And that's why I ungeared, I put up the Enoch gear for you guys, 500k gold down the drain for one Guild War, which I think we, oh no, Caerliss, we won that one because you were mad. My opponent was ungeared. But yeah, so he saves a lot, doesn't spend, doesn't unequip when other people would, doesn't swap gear, etc. Anything else on that?
And I've always been an advocate that gold has been fine. I mean, I've been able to rebuild back the gold back when I bought that one piece. And I think I still have like 2 million stigma just sitting in my sanctuary too that I could just use for penguins if I wanted to. So I don't think that gold's just an issue. It's really just management of it that's a problem. But I do understand how, especially for newer players who are still trying to figure out what units they want to build, maybe upgrade some pieces that they just have to in order to get through, that it could seem like a huge problem for them. But the moment you start getting into hunts, I feel like that problem, especially once you start gearing up some units, it shouldn't be nearly as big of an issue as it was in the past, especially nowadays.
Yeah, and
I think
it's getting better overall, regardless of if you thought it was good or not.
If there's one thing that you can do to help your gold problems, it's just manage your stuff better. Don't unequip and equip stuff needlessly. Be very careful and very cognizant of what you upgrade. And just know that there are pets out there that are built for gold. I do not use the experience pets for my lobby. My lobby pet is basically all for gold management and gold discounts.
I have something similar, Caerliss, and I got shit on my last video. They said, Carl, I don't take you seriously because you have equipment enhanced and then the gold from selling on the same pet. They wanted me to have like all enhanced and then all gold selling separated, like 2 triple-less separate pets.
I think that's a little too much min-max for my taste. But
yeah, guys, if Caerliss isn't doing it, that's a little sweat. If even Caerliss, who has 1 million pets and all the stuff he needs, it's too much effort. I will say until they revamp the, if they change this up, boys, where you can, you know, it doesn't reset your gift cooldown, because this can give gold transmits. I think, yeah, there's no reason to swap it out. It's just too much effort for 2 little games.
It also gives PvP flags, and I definitely don't give enough of those.